Well, it's official. A new Tony Hawk's Pro Skater remaster is just on the horizon with THPS 3+4. And despite my concerns with the remaster being an overpriced map pack for 1+2 and essentially missing career mode from 4, both reTHAWed and THUGPRO are still available to play and will always be there to keep the community going if 3+4 ends up being subpar. But there's one mod I haven't had a chance to talk about that has pretty much already given us 3+4 before it was ever officially announced, with the mod THPSPro. THPSPro was made by the developer MuhCrew, and what started out as a simple port of the maps from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 into the 1+2 remasters we got a few years back, the mod has since evolved into a similar beast akin to both THUGPRO and reTHAWed by bringing back every single level throughout the franchise, albeit 2 games. But THPSPro seems to lean into having a more single-player focus in mind, with MuhCrew attempting to have classic mode and some story goals playable across the entire franchise of the Neversoft era, but all running within this new, shiny, Unreal coat of paint. And it looks and plays fantastic all around, and was essentially the community's answer to an unofficial version of 3+4 before it got announced a few months back. And even with 3+4's release on the horizon, MuhCrew and other developers who've jumped on board with the project to assist with it are still going to be working hard to develop this reTHAWed-like experience on this newer engine. And just recently, as of the making of this video, the mod received yet another update, completing the roster of Thug 2, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, and Thug maps, and even more, all completely remastered and even including a few goals from those base games. So let's check some of these out and see how they play. At this point of the mod's development, almost every single map from the entire series, except for American Wasteland and Proving Ground, have been faithfully remastered to fit inside of this engine that this mod is running in. And despite the fact that these levels are not as detailed as some of the remastered ones in both 1+2 and the upcoming 3+4, the fact that they're all fully ported to begin with and even include the option to change up some of the level options like in the original games by hitting F1 and changing up the time of day or adding extra ramps and spots if the maps support it, is a great way for players to customize these maps to their liking. Unlike 3+4's renditions of these maps, where they'll include their own mix of different level options that you can't really go back and customize. So at least here in this mod, you get a lot more customization overall. And as of the release of the most recent version, like I mentioned earlier, you get to fully play through all of the original 4 games, Thug 1 and 2's maps, as well as Project 8's fully open world that was available on the 360 and PS3 versions of that game, unlike reTHAWed's ports of Project 8 that use the broken up PS2 levels, which is most likely due to engine limitations within Thaw. But having the full map here allows you to chain some insane combos across Beaver Valley. But I think the most impressive thing about these maps that are included is the fact that MuhCrew didn't just simply port the maps and leave it at that, but they actually took the time to update a lot of the textures throughout the entire roster, add some new graffiti representing some of the developers, and adjusted some of the lighting for each of the maps to make it make sense in this new engine. And in my opinion, they all look incredible. I did notice some of the textures were probably run through like an AI upscaler, but they didn't look as bad as other upscaling that I've seen in other mods. But I'm hoping once all of the maps and features are fully integrated into THPSPro, we could see another art pass on all of these maps just to update them a bit more and bring them up to par with the amount of detail with the upcoming remasters. But even then, they still look and play as incredible as ever. And one of my personal favorite additions of this mod is the fact that MuhCrew is trying to make it possible to play classic mode across the entire series. And if you've been watching my THPS mod videos for a while, you know way back in my THUGPRO video that I've been wanting to see one of these mods implement classic mode across the entire series, once all of the maps have been ported to those mods. And the fact that that's included here, at least for the most part as of the current development stage, it'll mean that there's no shortage of single player content across the entire series to check out and replay. Of course, at this moment, you have some of your basic goals like skate letters and secret tapes, and even in some of the THPS 4 and Thug maps, there's a few of the dynamic goals around the map that you can partake in, just like in the original games. Like breaking the bull out of its cage and causing chaos across Barcelona, to now being able to grab projectiles and start throwing them at pedestrians. The only problem I noticed so far is that for some reason with classic mode and the maps that do have goals, the sound doesn't work half the time. And it's not just like 1 or 2 sounds that are missing, it's almost like the entire soundscape just goes away. albeit a few sounds. And this is a known issue, and MuhCrew even points this out inside of the mod's readme. But still, hopefully one day this sound issue gets resolved, so that way playing classic mode feels and sounds like it does in those base games. And of course, you have all of your characters to play from the OG game, as well as a few new additions from some of the older games, but with updated models to fit the art style that's used here in 1+2. With classic characters like Spider-Man from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 making a return, but this time using the advanced suit introduced in the Insomniac Spider-Man games, which feels incredibly fitting for this mod, by the way. And getting to play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 goals with Spider-Man was such a nostalgia trip for me. Darth Maul is also here from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, and I'm pretty sure the mod uses an updated model from Star Wars Battlefront 2, and the lightsaber that he's wielding even lights up when you're skating around based on your special meter being active. And then you have one of the boys from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and even has his own unique special trick compared to the other characters. But so far, these are the only secret characters that are available, but I'm guessing by the mod's trajectory, we may see more classic characters from the series make it here into the mod in the future. And hopefully down the line we can also see some of these specials implemented, but it could be due to how the animation system works inside of this engine that we don't see them yet. Tony Hawk also has a lot of his classic skins ranging throughout the entire series, all the way from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 to Proving Ground, but I'd love to see this feature implemented for all of the skaters on the roster, except for the new ones of course since they don't have older models. And there's also some new boards and even different board types like the hoverboard from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5, which was probably the only interesting thing about that game.
Just garbage. Get that out of here.
Over the course of this mod's development, MuhCrew has also added a ton of optional experimental features that you can enable to add even more flexibility to your options on a board, including the addition of boost plants, manual spins, butt slaps, and even more exploits found throughout the series that have been jury-rigged into this engine. And they all seem to work as expected, and hell, I was able to pull off butt slaps with ease in this mod. But there's also an experimental walking feature that's been added, which has these janky ass animations, but still, it allows you to walk around the maps freely and chain together combos, just like Thug in the later Neversoft titles. And hell, there's even a few different camera options like free cam or tripod cams, which kind of reminded me of Skate or Thrasher a bit, and was a nice addition to see here in this mod. But one of the best features here, which is strangely missing from both 1+2 and the upcoming 3+4, according to Andy THPS, is the addition of setting a custom restart. Now, I know that sounds like a small thing, but this is such a great addition for those of us who love to free skate around maps and chain together combos, or hell, even players who love to make prod videos, or just anyone who hates the need to backtrack to a location to start a particular set. And just having this addition alone makes this mod just a little bit better than the upcoming remakes in my opinion. And there was at one point during this mod's development where MuhCrew added a web slinging feature since, Spidey is implemented in this, and it was based off the web swinging that we get from the Insomniac games. And despite being pretty janky overall, I found this inclusion to be such a fun thing to mess around with in the first place that I'm hoping by the time MuhCrew finishes the majority of this mod, he can go back and try to implement this feature in a more completed state. Because damn, being able to swing around the map and then drop into a half pipe and then continue skating is honestly some exhilarating shit to experience. And I think everyone should get to experience that once this mod fully releases. I did notice too that the mod crashes for me a lot of the time, but I mean it's a mod that's in development, so what do you expect? This did mostly happen during character customization, but hey, while I'm here, the character customization so far only has a few new additions. But even with those few new additions, it's a good preview at what to expect down the line once more clothing items get added. But based off of what's already available in THPS Pro, I'm honestly excited to see where this mod goes from here, especially with the official THPS 3+4 from Iron Galaxy releasing on the horizon. And despite the official release coming out very soon, and based off of recent updates, it doesn't seem like MuhCrew is slowing down anytime soon with this mod, and plans to expand the gameplay and features over the course of its development even further. And I'm hoping for the best with MuhCrew and the rest of the team, as in my eyes, this is yet another staple for the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater community, and any fan of the recent remasters should definitely give this mod a try if you happen to have it on PC. And make sure you go subscribe over to MuhCrew here on YouTube to stay up to date with any recent updates for the mod, as they post consistently about previews for the mod and even update videos to help the community stay up to date with the development. So again, make sure to go subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video and my coverage of the mod, please leave a like and subscribe, and comment down below letting me know if this mod has shown up in your personal radar, or if you plan on checking it out anytime soon. And thank you so much for giving this video a watch, and I hope you subscribe to stay tuned with what mods I'll be covering in the near future. I hope you all had a fantastic day, or at least a better one tomorrow, and I'll see y'all next time. BladeO out.